What is up, Gilgamesh Confederation and Balarrant Union? I am just a simple new type, and in this episode, we are diving into a new classic, Armored Trooper Votoms. This is created by Ryosuke Takahashi. No, not that Ryosuke Takahashi. This involves Kunio Okawada's mechanical designs, who is no stranger to this channel. Votoms stands for Vertical One-Man Tank for Offensive Maneuvers, with the S at the end and everything. What a stretch. Our story begins in Astragius year 7213, where two warring factions have been facing off for a century. A pilot by the name of Kiriko Kuvi is caught up in a sketchy mission that changes the course of his life. Grab your Scopedog and let's get into this. War! 100 years of war, to be specific. The Gilgamesh Confederation has been fighting the Balarrant Union throughout the Astragius galaxy. Over 200 worlds are caught up in this conflict. People over time forgot why they were fighting. The narrator, our hero, says that he is so tired. It is Astragius year 7213. On the outskirts of the Astragius galaxy, men are spying on their own men. They send out the Armored Trooper pilots. The commander says to keep your eyes on one. They launch in an LCM-05-AT. The LCM-05-AT is the Gilgamesh Navy's primary dropship. This can carry 10 armored troopers. It also has 4 large missiles. They approach an asteroid and fire all 4 missiles, killing the workers inside. They enter the asteroid named Lido and deploy the armored trooper, the Scopedog. The ATM-09-ST Scopedog became the standard of armored troopers, or ATs, for the Gilgamesh Confederation. Its primary feature is the lens turrets connected directly to the pilot's goggles. As part of this feature, the AT could be outfitted with several pieces of optional equipment and weapons. It has a coreless motor and uses wheels to glide around in what is called the roller dash. The outer foot contains a pile gun which is used as a turning mechanism and doubles as a jackhammer. Weapons include a 30mm heavy machine gun with grenade launcher, a 60mm rifle bazooka, and a long barrel pistol. Optionally, it can equip the 50mm Pentatrooper and a 9-tube shoulder missile gun pod. This AT has a parachute for drop missions as well. As the Scopedogs descend, they are met with enemy Scopedogs, but are taken down easily. The commander says not to worry, and we learn they are fighting their own men. One goes into a laser wall and blows up. The pilot, Kiriko Kuve, wants to know why they are shooting their own men. I'm saying Kiriko like the Japanese say it, but if I had to take a crack at translating it, I think it would be pronounced Shiriko. A giant keypad makes this noise. This show has a lot of fun bleep bloops. They find a stockpile of gold. One Scopedog almost shoots Kiriko. He dodges and takes down the AT. He then finds a capsule. He gets out of the AT and opens it to find a girl? Kiriko says, what in the fifth element is this? This happens to be what Kiriko's commander is looking for. He goes to check on the ship. He doesn't like being left in the dark. That is when a bomb goes off. Whee! There he goes. He passes out as he flies into space. His team seem to try to kill him. He's eventually picked up by the ship, the Bontant, and questioned about his involvement with the asteroid. He wants to know if he saw the prototype, which is the woman in the tube. They give him a little electroshock therapy. The commander mentions getting the treaty signed before their secret gets out. No, not the butthole! They almost kill him with this torture. Kiriko uses a bolt to jam the door and break free from his cell. Time for a good old bright slap. He makes it to the tarmac and steals himself a Melchian fighter. Luckily, they put a tracker on Kiriko so they can find him. He thinks of that girl in the pod, knowing this will cause him a lot of trouble. A satellite is tracking Kiriko. It has been 6 months since the incident with the girl. Kiriko has abandoned the Melchian army. Also, a treaty was finally signed. Leaving the army, he is hiding out in Udo City. Look, frog is the cheapest protein you're gonna get here, man. A gang wrangles up people off the streets. Kiriko is one of them. They take people before the cops get there. That's some efficient human trafficking right there. The police think it is time for them to end their deals with the gangs. The biker gang dumps all of the people out of the truck and says, congrats, you are all slaves now. Kiriko wonders what they are even digging for. One man tells them they are digging up gingidium, and this used to be a computer factory. Kiriko almost gets himself killed by a guard, but luckily the acid rain started pouring down. Kiriko starts another fight and gets beat up. The chief of police meet with the gang's leader, Boone. He says, I don't need your bitches anymore. In fact, our deal is over. Times have changed. Now that the war is over, they are no longer needed. He gives them gigidium and says, how about now? Meanwhile, the police are sneaking into the gang's base. However, they were expecting an attack. Meanwhile, the slaves rebel and Kiriko takes a bike. However, he goes into the base to see Boone and the police have been slaughtered. Hey kids, you like bikes that also make great toys? Kiriko flees. Meanwhile, the Gilgamesh army have found him after all this time. While fleeing, he finds a junkyard with an old Scopedog. He gets into the cockpit and gets some rest. The Boon Gang goes looking for Kiriko. Kiriko gets out to find a man smoking a pipe. This is Bulus Bulus? This is far worse than pronouncing Gundam names. A girl named Kokono slaps her ass and runs away after annoying the two and begging for food. Goto feeds Kiriko. He asks Goto if he could have one of the old Scapedogs. He'll pay him back one day. Goto agrees. The new police chief is going to put an end to the gangs in the city. As Kiriko fixes the AT, a man named Vanilla Vartla comes to pay a visit. A black man named Vanilla? I see what you're doing here. It seems Goto has a plan with Kiriko. Vanilla also makes an arms deal for one of his clients. He introduces himself to Kiriko. There's a lot of shots of just bikes and cars moving. Slows down the pace, that's for sure. Oh no, the acid rain returns. Kokono returns to tell Goto that the gangs are coming for this sector, looking for Kiriko. He finally fixes up the Scopedog and starts it up. He goes and handles the bike gang. They barely had a chance with their bikes against an AT. A limo casually passes by the fight. The police come in and attack the Boon Gang. Kiriko just watches and thinks that the war is still going on. Gilgamesh are locking in on Kiriko's location. Dudes that look like they are part of the Freeze Gang come in and put out fires on the Scopedog. Goto takes him back to the junkyard and tells him that he should work for him as a Votams jockey. He tells him about battling. Black market play fighting. They go to see some battling. Goto tells Kiriko to be careful of the Phantom Lady. She was in the limo. They watch one of these underground brawls play out. Another battling pilot talks shit to Kiriko. They decide to have a fight. One of the pilots recognizes Kiriko. He gets a new type tingle before the battle. What does the new type noise mean in this series? The guy who recognized Kiriko is Lieutenant Conan. He was a part of the Lido incident. He's taking over the match against Kiriko. This guy is in contact with the police, it seems. They tricked Goto. This isn't going to be a mock battle. This is going to be a real battle. Kiriko still decides to fight. The battlefield is a giant maze. The two begin. Conan gets a few hits on Kiriko. They both go into hiding. The Phantom Lady is watching. Careful, you might get shot. It's like Daytona. People are more excited for the deaths than the actual sport. Kiriko gets low and gets a shot on the Scopedog's scope. He then realizes it is Lieutenant Conan, the commander of his old squad. Conan shoots at his scope, but Kiriko does a rocket punch on the unit. Kiriko wins the match. Police raid the event and are after Kiriko. They have to flee, but he allows himself to be taken. Kiriko thinks he is speaking to God. He thinks back to different battles during the war. He is actually talking to Serge Burrow of the police and the papacy. Why is he wearing that outfit? Time for the whip. This guy has spent most of the show getting abused so far. Vanilla is outside of the police precinct and wants to break out Kiriko. Vanilla heads to the bar where police takes him to the bathroom and abuses him, but it is a ploy. Vanilla paid off the security guard from the jail to get intel. Kokono tries alcohol for the first time. Goto knows Vanilla wants Kiriko and wants in on whatever he is trying to pull. He tells him that he even has a heavy laser. He shows Goto the intel the guard gave him regarding Kiriko's imprisonment. Kokono wants in on this as well. Goto uses the heavy laser as they navigate around. Serge thinks that they may have to finish off Kiriko as he is useless to them. The gang uses the laser to break through the doors in the underground prison. Guards take Kiriko right as they break through with the laser and take out the guards. Vanilla does a Star Wars, but he doesn't have the Stormtrooper helmet on, so that probably hurt. As they break him out, they get a call wanting Kiriko to have a real match again. Goto doesn't want him to currently, but then they are offered 50 million guildens. 50 million? Is that a lot? It sounds like a lot. Kiriko is in. They drive to the location but are ambushed. Luckily, they expected this, and Kiriko was hiding in the shadows. He takes down one unit. 2 more remain. They weren't expecting an ambush and a 3v1. The Phantom Lady watches. Kiriko remembers a tactic from his commander. He takes down another and realizes the remaining pilot is Captain Oria, another crew member of the Lido incident. He is able to sneak around Oria and punches his AT in the face. Kiriko points a gun at his face and demands to know why they're after him. He is about to spill the beans, but Serge and a Scooey of the secret police self-destruct Oria's unit before he could say anything. Kiriko sees the Phantom Lady watching. He thinks her limo is at a place in this battle. And that will do it for our first dive into Armored Trooper Votoms. Like Gundam, we start our story in media res, and our hero fills in the gaps of the universe as we move along the plot. Kiriko seems to be met with constant anguish since the day he saw this girl. Next time, Goto and Kiriko hide out from the police. He meets the girl he saw on Lido once again. Even though the gangs aren't after him, the police certainly continue their pursuit of Kiriko, and he is attacked by a brutish dog. But that will do it for now, AT pilots. Remember to not let test tube girls ruin your life. Peace.